Hi everybody, it's Peter Stockdale, the host of the Spin Market Report. Are you looking for a new place to advertise your business? With over 85,000 YouTube impressions and 20,000 total streams across all platforms in the last 12 months, the Spin Market Podcast Network could be the prime space you've been looking for to advertise your business. Get a hold of Spin Market today and see what advertising on a podcast can do for you. Visit www.spinmarketwith2ks.com or email digitalagent@spinmarket.com for more information.
It's the Spin Market Report. Here's your host, Peter Stockdale.
Hey, we're back. It's the Spin Market Report. We're sitting down today with Jordan Van Horn and Taylor Van Horn, and you guys are the owners of Cosmic Smash Burgers, correct?
Yes.
All right. So let's just start out with a nice easy one. Softball in. What's a smash burger?
A smash burger is, so you take basically a ball of meat,
Okay.
and you're putting it onto a flat top, and then you're smashing that down, and then when you smash that down, it basically creates a nice little surface between the flat top and the meat, and what comes a Maillard effect, which is like the same thing as like bread and toast, kind of changes the molecular level, so it gives you like a nice little crispy edge and kind of seals in all that flavor. So just because they're thinner and you're smashing it, you're actually not smashing out all the juices out of it. So it makes it a lot better. Yes.
Big question. Did you bring the truck today?
No, I did not.
Well, there goes the lunch plans for
Right?
today.
I know. I'm sorry.
No, I love me some smash burgers. I mean, like you said, they're juicy and just a little bit crispy too. It's like the best of both worlds, you know.
Yes.
So
exactly.
how did you think of doing something like Cosmic Smash Burgers? Like, what inspired you to start the company?
Well, I just used to make. I used to make smash burgers just at home for the friends, and I would just continue to make them. I don't know. I mean, everybody thought they were good, and I was just like, well, I mean, I guess I could start my own business doing it. Like, I just thought about kind of in my head, and I went through like a bunch of different, things I could have done. Whether it's a restaurant or whatever. I mean, I have like minor experience. I guess we can talk about that. But starting with that, and then just growing off that, I guess. I mean, just mostly off of because I cook and I love to cook for my friends and stuff like that. So it's just kind of what happened.
Yeah, I love that. It's almost like the gig economy or like a hobby that turned into a job, But it doesn't seem like a job if you like doing it either, though. So
It obviously it can, but the money's a lot better.
Yeah.
When it comes to me instead of somebody else. So.
Yeah, instead of just a hobby.
Right.
So, how'd you come up with the name Cosmic Smash Burgers?
So growing up, I always been a space nerd. I continue to be a space nerd. I mean, I love watching like SpaceX launches and stuff like that, and Everyday Astronaut, who's a guy from Iowa. So I just kind of love that. And actually, I didn't even land on Cosmic first. I was trying like a bunch of different stupid names. I went through like Big J's Burgers, and then I wanted to do like some sort of like circus themed at one point, and I was like, oh, circus burger, but then like nothing ever like rolled off the tongue. And then like I think driving one day, I was just kind of thinking, I was like, well, I'm a space nerd, whatever, some kind of space burgers. No. Eventually I hit the Cosmic, and I don't know, just seemed like it just fit well.
So what sets your burgers apart from just a run-of-the-mill burger or maybe even a fast food burger?
Well, so I mean, smash burgers are just kind of like the new craze anyway, and it's something that I've never seen anybody else do a burger truck like that. I mean, they just sell like, generally like frozen beef patties and whatnot, just for a burger, right? And they're cheaper and they're, whatever. But what sets me apart is, well, a couple different reasons. One, I wanted to keep it local, support local as much as possible. So I'm trying to team up with local farmers to get actual, good raised beef, from farmers to help them out, and not just to like buy like, not to like knock like big stores like Walmart or anything, but just, I don't know where that comes from. It might come from corporate farmers or whatever. I mean, I'm sure some farmers raise those, but it seems like it goes to Walmart or whoever I buy, if I buy it from there versus if I buy it directly from the farmer. And we're from North Springs, and I buy beef from North Springs as well. So I'm trying to keep that. And then any of my other ingredients, I try to keep top quality or homegrown as much as possible, and just trying to keep that whole experience. And I cook everything to order. I don't like to, kind of make it ahead and then have them kind of sit there, because I want quality.
Well, it's got to help the flavoring the taste of it too. Obviously.
Oh, sure. Yeah. And so what sets us apart from doing that is with keeping my quality standards. I want to keep them high and fresh and not, under a cooker, under a red light for forever. And then obviously the beef being local and stuff like that, it just makes it obviously tastes way better.
I think that's one of those things where it's like a gas station coffee versus your favorite coffee.
Sure.
Yeah. Nothing against it, but like, Domino's versus your favorite pizza place. There's an obvious difference there for a reason. It's because they're putting the TLC into it like you are, and you're sourcing everything locally, which I actually did write down in the notes when I was researching this again this morning. I saw it right on your website, Iowa beef.
Yes.
I love that kind of stuff where you get the connection, you're building it back into the community.
Right.
So what was the biggest challenge you faced when you started this all?
Well, I owned 0 food trucks in my life. And I think that's probably one of the reasons that had a big challenge for me was, I've worked in a restaurant before, but I've never really managed a restaurant. I've never, owned a restaurant or a food truck. So just trying to navigate those challenges and doing that. Plus, I had a full-time job the whole time, when I was trying to start this and whatever. And, I had a full-time job for the first like month and a half. And then and then it got super busy and then I couldn't do it. So I'm like, not the food truck. I mean, the my job. And I had a clear split and my boss told me, he goes, look, man, I'm very happy for you, but either you need to spend your time at our job or you need to spend time doing your thing. And he goes, I completely support you either way. And if you want to do this, I understand. So I had to make that decision. So that was a challenge, was for my family. Do I leave my job with benefits and a guaranteed paycheck?
Yeah.
For something that, yes, is great right now, but is it going to last? So it's just kind of challenges like that to make sure that, she's happy. I got kids happy. Kind of thing. So
yeah, I'm sure that's always a tough thing, especially when you have, basically what we said earlier was kind of like a hobby that exploded. It's taken off and now it's like, now what do I do with this? How do I split all my time up? It's never an easy thing to realize. I have 2 responsibilities here and I got to figure out which one or how to chisel it all out to fit it all in one day or 2 days or in the weekend or whatever's going on.
Yes.
Cause I did look at your calendar online. You do have a calendar on your website, shows where you guys are going. It's at least 2 a week, it seems like.
During the winter, we try.
Yeah.
She took over kind of the scheduling and more of the day-to-day things. We're trying to phase her out of her job. She works from home and stuff like that. And trying to phase her out, but want to make sure that we stay under the benefit umbrella too. All right. So we're not trying to like overextend ourselves, but during the winter time, it's hard. And we're working on cooking inside for some places. Like we have our local VFW and during the wintertime, we're going to cook inside.
Okay.
So if it's like storming, blizzarding and stuff like that, people can actually come inside and then,
nice.
That's cool.
and cook. So, and then we're trying to find more places like that. Plus it keeps our overhead down a little bit more so I can actually like lower the prices a little bit.
Yeah, I like that idea a lot though, because like I guess I never really even thought about it. If it's wintertime, like how many people are walking out with like hats and mittens to get a burger? I mean, it's probably less than in the summertime.
Out in the cold, who wants to do that?
Yeah,
Which we're excited because pretty soon we're going to start mobile ordering, so they won't have to sit out in the cold if we don't have an indoor.
Man, you guys
kitchen
like
space.
thought through a lot. Of
no
this.
kidding. Yeah.
So we're excited to get that started, but we're not sure when we're going to go live with that.
That's actually a really good idea because then you can set up wherever you want and people can just drive to you, pick up the burger and drive home.
Right. Yeah.
Awesome. I love it. Plus, like you said, go to the VFW. It's almost like turning your burger truck inside out, just bringing it inside.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It's great. I love it. It's so fun. So we talked prior experience. You had some prior experience with food service. How about you?
Yeah. Back in high school, I worked in the school kitchen, cafeteria. And then from there, I worked at a burrito place. And then from there, I went to a hospital kitchen. So very early on in my career did I start in the kitchen and have since transferred to like office work.
Okay. All right.
I miss it.
Yeah.
Looking back, kitchen's probably been my favorite kind of job. So this is kind of like falling into place.
Yeah. It's a little busier, but more fun.
Yeah. More interaction.
So why did you choose the food truck over brick and mortar?
Mostly cost.
Just cost. Yeah.
I mean,
sense.
well, so I know I looked into it. I mean, the entry level for a restaurant is obviously a lot higher. I mean, yes, you can get lower overheads once you get in there, but I didn't really want to look at leasing because then I'm stuck. If I don't have employees that are, willing to work or whatever, and I can't stay open, well, if I can't make money, then, well, here we are.
Yeah.
So as a food truck, obviously I can keep that, I mean, yes, the overheads are a little higher, but if I can't do whatever or can't make it that way, I can, if it doesn't work like in North Springs one day, I can take it over to Mason City, or I can bring it down to Fort Dodge, and I can move it around and keep that popularity high. Or if, if something were to break down, I can get another thing, tow it or whatever. I mean, there's always flexibility. If something breaks down majorly or a fire erupts, hope not, inside a building, then, well, you can't run your restaurant for a little while.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that makes sense, too, because, like, you can get it out to the masses a little bit easier, too, being portable like that. Like, if you had your favorite restaurant down in Des Moines, like, how often do you actually get down there? But if the restaurant drove up here once a week, it'd be like, well, I'm eating the burger, once or twice a week, Give me 2. I'm having one Saturday, too, or something like that. That's awesome. So how do you decide on all your locations?
Do you want to take that one?
Yeah, since I'm doing most of the scheduling, we kind of people have actually reached out to us. We haven't done a whole lot of like pop-ups as you would. We are pretty consistent in the summertime doing like Thursdays on Main and Clear Lake. We're in Charles City at the brewery. At least we try to go there at least once a month. That seems to be pretty good for us. Other than that, it's like most events and then company lunches and stuff like that. And they kind of reach out to us and we just ask them questions about how many people are you planning on having? How many food trucks are you having? We've found that to be one of the most important things to ask, since we've said yes to a couple people and then we show up and there's like 5 other food trucks and we're like,
oh, you planned for being the only food truck, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we've really had to like narrow down our questionnaire before we're like, okay.
Yeah.
And I think one of the hardest things for us is that we don't work Saturdays, which your food truck Saturdays are like your busy day, but for us, it's just worked out for us, and we choose not to work Saturday and spend it with our family and do those things. So that's a struggle, is a lot of people want us to do Saturday events and we're like, sorry.
I mean, sometimes it's best to have those days off too, because then it's just like, well, if you're working a regular job and then you're doing nights and weekends doing the whole thing, like, you got to have a day off, so it's nice to give yourselves a day off like that. You probably kind of run into a few of those types of things, like maybe some logistical challenges or things like that, trying to get things from point A to point B, or.
Yeah. I mean, we do. And, especially like when we're at a place and then we're getting close to running out, we're like, oh crap, we didn't bring enough, and don't get me wrong, like, I like the feeling of selling out, but if I can sell to more people, why not? Right. I mean, I've had that happen before where I've had like maybe 50 people deep and I ran out and I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
And I had to tell them, and it was a big park frenzy thing where there's like a bunch of food trucks. And I mean, ours was obviously the biggest line at that point. And I had to tell everybody, I ran out of meat. Sorry, guys. And when I told everybody, you could tell, I mean, people were disappointed, not like mad at us, but, they wanted a burger. They've been waiting in the line.
Yep.
And I tell them no. And then after they just all dispersed, like the park was like dead. And I felt kind of bad for everybody else too. I'm like, well, I didn't know you only wanted burgers. I mean, I guess whatever. But so there's some logistical challenges of trying to figure out, well, how much do you need? Because like, I guess we're still in that learning point of like, because some people want to come out to the food truck like a lot. And then all of a sudden, like someday, even if it's still hot, like they're just like, man, we don't want food trucks today. I mean, like, there's like no exact science to it. And I can't, there's only so much room on a food truck you can handle. So,
yeah. So, I mean, talking about like things like that, the weather was another one that I had a question down here, but we already like, went over and talked about that. Like in the wintertime, it's, you're not going to have as much walk-up traffic in the winter because people aren't just going to be hanging out outside. But,
right.
What advice would you give somebody, that's looking to start a food truck that hasn't, some things like this, or just things that I guess I never really even thought of, which they seem obvious now that you said them, the weather, bringing enough stuff, asking the questions before you get to the place. I never would have thought of any of that stuff. But are there any other things that, like, Any advice you might want to give somebody if they're going to try and start a food truck? I assume tenacity has to be some of it. Cause like you said, you have a setback and you overcame and you kept going, that might be something where maybe somebody starting a food truck, they're like, well, it's just a gold mine start to finish. And it's like, well, you have to try actually.
I mean, yeah, for a lot of people and a lot of struggles I see with food truck owners is that, well, for us, it wasn't that same way, but like a lot of times when you start a food truck, it takes time to build up. Mm-hmm. And when you're out there and you're just trying and feels like nobody is like coming to buy your stuff, people get really discouraged by that. For us, we just found that niche, like we found burgers that nobody else does. Like, I mean, we specialized in burgers. And when we do that, people are like, well, there's gotta be good because it's the only thing they do or whatever, or nobody else does it. And so I feel like a lot of people are just trying to, do their own cooking and stuff like that, which, I mean, props to them. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm not saying anything against them, but when they're coming out like that, people don't know your food. They don't know what does your goulash stick out from everybody else's? Yeah. That's a really Midwest thing. I know. I'm sorry. But like, or your hot dog, like what sets out your hot dog? I mean, why should I go to Joe's Hot Dogs when I can create a hot dog at home kind of thing? Which, I mean, you could do a smash burger at home too, but it's
the special sauces that we came up with. I mean,
are you going to have a brioche bun?
Right.
You're going to have that at home.
We have curated our own sauces, and the types of burgers. I mean, changing the cheeses all changes the flavor. So
I guess, so kind of going back to our point, I guess, is find a niche, kind of go for it. But if you're going to see like it feels like you're not there, I mean, you're supposed to give it time, especially when you're sitting in a spot, like you're doing a pop-up somewhere, like in a parking lot or whatever, like just stay there. Like, I mean, keep going back there because build that consistency, because chances are you're not going to be very popular starting out. And that's not because of you by any means. It's just because people don't know what you do and how your quality is yet, and kind of going off there.
New things.
Yeah.
As much as we say we like new things. Oh, I'm tired of that food place. But you don't want to go try something new. You're scared, or you're like, I don't know if they have anything I like. Well, it takes time for people to see you. So going to the same spot, oh, they've been there for quite a while. Maybe I should check them out.
Yeah, I think like, especially, I mean, sometimes it's, if I hear my friend really liked it and was like, hey, you have to go try this out, then I'm like, oh, well, maybe now that I see them coming back again, I'll go check it out.
And somebody said something, it was good, so now maybe.
Yeah.
But to that point, though, it can also double-edged sword. So now when you have, like your friend tried it, and then you're like, they're like, oh, it's so good. It's so good. You need to try it. And now you're trying it, or you're coming. Now I got that almost double expectancy to make sure it's just as good or better because your friend told you about it, right? And so now you have this hype up, whereas your friend may have just came on a whim or whatever, didn't know anything about it, and now had my burgers and now was like, oh, these are good. These are great. But now she told you these are great, and now you may have a higher expectation of where the great was. So I guess the other thing would be is don't be afraid of people who don't think your product is good as you think it is. As long as you have the willingness to want to make it better and go that mile and help them out, I guess don't get discouraged by people saying that your product is bad. Because chances are either A, if it is bad, you might have screwed up on accident. It's fine. Just trying to make it better. But B, a lot of times it's probably not even bad. They just don't like it because it's on their preference.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and it's so they just kind of like, don't get knocked down and be like, ooh,
nobody likes my food.
Yeah. And then you want to quit after that because, Meemaw didn't, Meemaw has been telling you your whole life that you have, oh, sweetie, you have the best burgers in the world. And you go take it out there and everybody's like, wow.
And one person out of 100 was like, not my favorite. And you take it personally.
Yeah. And then instantly hit you. And I used to be kind of like that too. But luckily I got enough fans and things on Facebook, all fans, I guess, I don't know. Followers, thank you. Who kind of jump and say, hey, maybe it was an off day, I mean, did you talk to them? I mean, we've had nothing but good experiences. So I really have a nice community that kind of helps back me up in that.
You have to make sure that you name the food truck or the trailer or whatever you're going to do. Name it something people are going to know. Don't name it like Joe's and be so basic that nobody knows. Okay, so what does Joe sell? Like,
Yeah.
that was one of the biggest things that we learned when we went down to a food truck convention and educational expo is, you know, you need to make sure that your names are going with your products. So like Cosmic Smash Burgers, you know instantly, oh, they do smash burgers. So you know what to expect as long as you know what a smash burger is. But
Well, if you don't, you know what a burger is.
But you don't have to know what a smash burger is because they'll still come up to me and be like, what's a smash burger? And I'll be like, hey, glad you asked. Come try one.
yeah. So that's another big thing starting out is making sure you choose an appropriate name that's going to tell people what you're selling. Because you don't want to just have a food truck with a name that has nothing to do with your selling.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's one of those things where like it would take years and years and years for somebody to associate a nonsensical name with something that's good, you know, like the place to be. And it's like, what do you mean it's the place to be? It's like, well, it's our food truck where we sell smash burgers. And it's like, I would have never guessed that, you know, but after you build the following, and that's where branding comes in. Actually, you know, you got to brand yourself correctly, which honestly enough was the exact next question on the list. So you answered that one straight away, but like, I do like the branding you guys have. I like your logo with the rocket ship around the burger. I like the website that you guys have, which actually was built here at Spin Market. So that's a really cool thing. I cruised through your website, saw your menu as well on the website. I got to get the Cosmic. I got to get the Dragon. So next time you're anywhere nearby, I'm going to go get 2 burgers.
Man, I don't know why you didn't just set out the truck right out front.
I know.
We wouldn't let you.
Everywhere I go, and everybody always tells me, like, did you bring the food truck? Did you bring the food? I'm like, no, I didn't. I'm sorry. But yeah, no, I really feel like I hit a home run, and I'm trying not to toot my horn too much, but with my branding, everything just kind of fell in line. I mean, my slogan is burgers out of this world.
Yeah.
And it's like, it just makes sense because people know what it means. Like, oh wow, that was out of this world, you know. It's like, and it fits with the whole thing with the space, you know. And then all my menu items are all space named. So, like my Cosmic is my OG. My regular one's got the burger sauce with the pickles, onions, and American cheese. So it's just kind of like the classic, you know.
Yep.
And then
local Iowa beef, fresh brioche bun.
That's right. Yeah,
I gotta say it because when I saw that online,
Gosh,
I'm like,
I'm getting hungry.
Yeah, that's what made me. I was just like, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
right
of course.
there.
Yeah.
And the buns are made here in the Midwest as well.
Even better.
Oh my gosh.
So going off of that, they got the Saturn, Mercury, even the Dragon, which is named after the Dragon capsule. And I just wanted to throw Dragon, which is kind of like almost like a curveball, like if you really didn't think about it. But there's really not much else I could do for spicy unless I named it like the Sun. But I was like, meh, it's not that. And then I have like Nebula and Stella Nova. Stella Nova being a peanut butter and jelly type one. And so I'm trying to create all these, you know, creative new ones. I was going to do like this Greek one, like a Euro one, and name it
I'm
Apollo.
so hungry right now.
It's still. Sorry, I know I do that too.
Apollo, Greek,
Apollo. Yeah. So I'm throwing all these even, but they kind of still fit with each other, you know, and so they're all just different cool names, but I want to keep them all centralized in there. Like I don't want to just name it like, you know, Burger 1, Burger 2. I mean, even though that might be a cool little thing for somebody, but
well, if you start doing a variations of the Apollo, your Apollo 1, Apollo 2.
Well, you're right. Yeah.
Voyager 1, Voyager 2. You never know, but hey, I like the idea. You know, I never really thought about that too, because there's just enough variation in all of the aeronautical type stuff where you can pull in, you know, like I never would have thought Apollo for a Greek burger, but it works so perfectly,
right?
You know, like I love it, you know.
Even the fries and the kids' meals and the drinks all have space themes.
What was the kids' burger called?
So they're little knots. So like astronauts,
gosh.
you know, they're little knots. And I built my menu that I have because I have a mobile, or not a mobile. Well, it is mobile. It's all mobile. Digital menu. And so I have a big background in graphic design and stuff like that. Like I love being creative that way. Like I created my own logo and everything.
Oh, cool.
So I built this little fancy digital menu, and it's got like a little like astronaut kid jumping up and down, and you know it's got like little planets spinning around because I wanted to appeal that way too. And that's a big part of my branding too, is just so you can see all the visual elements in there. Rocket fuel as my drinks, and then I probably should figure out something else because it's rocket boosters as the fries and rocket fuel, and I'm like, it's too many rockets at this point. But I'm like,
people.
yeah. But I'm like, I didn't know what else. So I was like, oh, maybe in the future. But
I love it. Yeah. I mean, going through the website, looking at you guys' menu instantly made me thirsty. I literally wrote down the Cosmic and the Dragon to make sure I brought them up on the podcast because those two look good to me.
they're all good, I promise.
So you probably would sell out just from us here.
It sounds like it.
Trying all of them.
You're going to have people in Fort Dodge hitting you up saying, bring that food truck here.
We plan on in the future traveling a little bit more. We just got a bigger trailer. So we went from a 7x13 trailer. That's the first thing I bought. And the layout was terrible. So I guess we want to go back to people who want to start their food truck. Get a layout that's going to work for you.
Yeah.
Think about that one.
Think about it.
Because we did that and we were doing these weird dances and run into each other. And I mean, I'm a big guy myself. Luckily, my wife is smaller than me until she has all these smash burgers. No, I'm just kidding. But so trying to, her and I going back and forth, bumping into each other. Yep. And so now that we have this bigger one, it has a way better flow to it. It's got real fryers built in because my last one only had like one little fryer, so I had to get electric fryer. And so we had, power cords hanging out the window to go to my generator. My generator's a little loud. I mean, it did it. It did the job. And that's the other thing too. If that's all you can afford because it was a cheaper trailer, then I mean, go for it. I mean, I'm not saying,
that's going to get you started.
Don't turn it down, but just be prepared that it may not be for you. I mean, you're going to have to really work around it. I guess we go back again to that point is, you don't have to make your stuff the cheapest to sell it.
Yeah.
But if you're going to have it more expensive or at a higher premium price point, then you're going to want to put more quality behind it and make sure it stays that's why I kind of really want to stay on that quality because yes, I am selling a $12 burger and people are like, why? But then you're like, local beef. You could probably get $3 a pound, especially on sale, whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, but is the quality there,
That was
Did it
the
go
first thing
through
on
a
my mind.
massive meat processing plant or a local locker?
And our beef is best because people like grass fed or grain fed. There's quite a bit of a split in Iowa. Well, ours is started on grass and finished on grain. Yeah. Whatever way. They get it both in there. So you do have that kind of that nice, kind of mix of both. You kind of get that good taste. And I feel like that's what really kind of helps it out. But of course, I'm not going to set back and be like, now every farmer I get from has to be grass and grain fed.
Yeah.
But like when you walk into like Five Guys or whatever, and you see their potatoes are like there's a sign that says, these potatoes are brought to you by so-and-so farm from Idaho. And I want to do that same thing if I can in the future, being like, today's meat or whatever meat is brought to you by so-and-so. For us right now, Skyview Farms, and I want to, well, essentially I want to kind of do that for like local Joes, whatever.
Yeah. Promote them since they're helping out.
Yep.
Yeah.
So how about social media? Like how does social media play into your marketing efforts? I mean, we talked a little bit about how like your guys' branding and your guys' burgers and like the quality of them is like what helps you guys stand out against all the competitors. Obviously better burgers than just a run-of-the-mill fast food burger, because the quality's there. But what about like social media? How do you use that to kind of like build a community around you? Or is it a lot of word of mouth from people that go to the truck?
Social media is especially Facebook is a great way to share that, especially events and stuff like that, what's going to happen with other people. I try to integrate it with my website as much as possible too. That's why I wanted to have like a calendar of sorts, where if they don't have Facebook, they can at least go to there and kind of figure out, because I've had plenty of people tell me, well, I didn't see it on Facebook or I didn't see it on your website or whatever. So, I mean, people go to that. I mean, for sure, to kind of figure out where I'm at next. But social media, I do find out if we do post something engaging for them, whatever, hey, we're going to be here. I mean, even if there's like 5 people that like it, I feel like I get a lot more response than if we forget to post. And then we like show up and we're like, did you post something? And she's always like, did you post something? I'm like, no.
I'm not very good at social media. So.
Right. But luckily, I mean, with Spin Market, it's been wonderful because they offer that kind of stuff to help out with, with social media posts if you want to. Obviously with the website, Abby's done a wonderful job building that. It's been great.
Yeah.
and we get a lot of good feedback from it too.
Good.
I made my first website just on a whim at my full-time job. I used to be an IT manager, and I just kind of threw it together. And I probably could have made it a little better, but I had a lot of traffic going to that. Just how crappy that was. I mean, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't very good. But I was getting plenty of people going to that, and I was like, well, obviously websites are powerful, whether you're good or bad. So I'm like, well, if I'm gonna keep my brand up, stop putting them in a Ford Pinto, and start putting it into a Ferrari, at least to show you. I mean, I'm not trying to show off and be like, well, I'm better than that, but it's like I at least want them to come to something that visually looks good, and so kind of going out that way. So social media has been a big part, social media website, because it feels like it's just a better overall, more professional experience.
Yeah.
When I got there, especially when I can have fun with it too. Like I like starting my posts with like, "Hey Earthlings," you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't want to feel like I'm a foreign alien, but but I like saying that, like, "Hey, we've landed in your area."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Saw
Like,
that on Instagram.
Oh, people
I love
that though.
Yeah.
I mean, we love following things like that.
And it really stands out, because it makes it feel more fun. It makes you feel like you actually like, oh, whatever. Like,
you really like play into the
Yeah.
part. Like if you're gonna do something fun, like Cosmic Smash Burgers, you gotta have fun with it.
I will say your guys' website is tons of fun, and I'm not just saying that because it was built here, but like I said, I went through it this morning and was looking at stuff. I like the rocket ship burger that kind of moves across the screen as you're going down, and I mean, there's all sorts of stuff on there, and it's really easy to traverse, which is like honestly the biggest pitfall of most websites. They're not easy to find what you need. Found everything I needed on your guys' website, easy peasy. Calendar, wham, it's right there. Menu, boom, right there. Contact, wham, right here. I mean, it's so easy. So that's one of those things. Having professionals help out kind of helps out. Takes a lot of the pressure off though too. Lets you just have fun making burgers, and enjoying, spending time with the communities.
That's the biggest thing. Like in the summertime, we do not have time to do social media. We are literally out until 9 o'clock at an event. Takes us, about an hour or so to clean up, make sure it's ready, because we're turning around and going and doing lunch the next day. And we don't have time to do another post on social media because we're working till 10 o'clock, getting home, depending on how far we have to travel to go home, and then having to make sure our dishes washed, are we stocked up for tomorrow, and then, we have to make sure our cash drawer is ready to go so that that's balanced and that everything's charged up for the next event, which is literally less than 12 hours away. So it's really great just to have somebody take the reins on that social media side of things.
It's a whole nother job.
Yeah.
I mean,
you brought up a lot of things in there that were things I didn't even think about. So one was like, when you get home, you got to do all the cleanup, and then you got to do prep work for the next day. You said the cash drawer, which was something I never even thought about. Like, never even occurred to me. You have to have a till, correct to come, because you can't just show up with 20s and be like, I don't have change for anybody.
Right.
So you have to do stuff like that.
There's definitely a lot of little things that you don't think about until obviously you're there, and then you're like, oh. I mean, it's down to like what spatula do I use that's best? I mean, it goes. I mean, very, very minuscule. I mean, and then what POS system works well for you, kind of thing. I mean, it's just. I mean, you won't think about all this stuff, and you're like, well, I can just hop into a trailer and just get some food and start cooking. Well, no, I mean, now you got to go through licensing processes. You got to go through the flow processes. You got to figure out what you're going to have. Is it going to be profitable having that? I mean. Oh man.
Yeah.
And for me, I probably didn't do the smartest way. I didn't make any business plan doing it. I hopped in and did all that, but luckily I think my brain working in previous somewhat things, I've kind of already seen like a little bit of what they did. I probably could have started out a little better and a little less nervous on some things if I would have had a business plan put in there. So, everybody think about it, do a business plan first. Much better for you. Don't do what I did. But yeah, having a plan and sticking with it has been much better.
So we were talking what kind of, social media, your website, things like that. Those are probably the tools you use the most. Otherwise it'd be like word of mouth would probably be the other one.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people that come in are just like, you got to try these burgers,
right.
No other food truck like it, things like that, as far as word of mouth, which again, I just going to your website, seeing some of the pictures. It's like, yeah, I want these please.
Again, I was going to go off that one too. Yes, pictures help a lot. If I can get a good picture of my burgers, I love posting that stuff too, because that's what really sells a lot. Especially, I mean, words. Yes, you can be like, come 9 to 5, whatever, here and there. But if I attach like a good burger picture from it, I get like 300% more engagement, I swear.
Yeah.
I mean, they just love it. And it's like, it makes me so hungry.
Food pictures, 100% on menus. You said goulash earlier, and I just like instantly looked at Mac to see what she would think. 'Cause goulash is probably pretty hard to photograph, I would think, to get a good one. So, good food pictures go a long ways.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to take pictures, at least take pictures of your food. I mean, yes, you could get a professional food photographer and take pictures of your food and stuff like that, but then especially if it's really, really beautiful, then you're kind of building off something that's not really there.
Yeah.
You're building expectations that are probably going to fail.
I took my own pictures of our burgers that we're trying to do, and I kind of put them on like a plate of fries and whatnot, because I was trying to show what we do, but trying to make it more realistic. I try to set it up, make sure I see all the jalapenos or some of the onions. I mean, I really kind of try to play it out a little bit there, but I'm not trying to build like this expectation of, this, like you said, McDonald's, where it's like this built like they're like, oh, it's this big, and you get it and it's like squished like a quarter of the size. Yeah. I don't want to look like I got like the whole burger smashed. Yeah. Well, just the patties.
It's one of those weird things where I think like puffery works. I think that's what they call it, right? That works better for bigger corporations than it would for a small one, unfortunately. And I've never been a big fan of it anyways.
Right. But I mean, I feel like that's still the fast foodie type thing. And even if I would have had a restaurant, or I get one in the future, I still don't want to throw that fast foodie individual, it just seems too like, I get it. I know what they're trying to do and it works for them and I get it, but I don't want to have that image of fake quality either. Because I mean, even when I go to Wendy's or McDonald's or whatever, and I look at their burgers, I'm like, yes, it looks good. And I know I'm not going to get that.
Yeah.
I mean, I already know it and I'm still going to go there, but,
or you get some places that they put pictures of their food, but then they don't tell you what the food in the picture is.
It's just a burger picture, and it's
that drives me nuts, because then I'm like, that looks so good. What is it?
Right. Right. They don't tell you about the anchovy melt butter that's on there. And you're like,
just kidding.
Maybe local fish heads. And you're like, no. Everything else looked great.
We had talked about some of the things on your guys' menu that were, like the different burgers. Do you have like a favorite burger that you have there? Is there one that you were just like, this is the one? Or do you have like something, I don't know, maybe we shouldn't let any new ideas out of the bag quite yet, but do you have a favorite burger there? Like, is there one that you're always like, yeah, we're getting the Cosmic today?
Well, I mean, as far as like me, they're all my favorite. But as far as like other people like showing me like what their favorite, it's very regional. And some days I feel like it's even by the day. I really don't, because like they're all get popular in their own little way. Like if we go to someplace, I mean, my Mercury might just be like the most seller I have all day. Like if I sell 100 burgers, Mercury might take 60 of them. You know what I mean? But overall, I feel like the Cosmic has been my biggest seller, and I do have numbers to back that up from all my sales data, but I think the Cosmic is because I think that's the most customizable one, and some people don't really want the sauce; they just want ketchup, and mustard on there. Because some people, like especially farmers, some farmers are just like really like, I love the beef, but I don't want much on there, just cheese and ketchup.
Yep.
The Cosmic is popular because of, like I said, the easiness of it, where you can kind of take maybe one thing out, put ketchup on there, and call it good. But then kind of go around the other side with the Nebula with the smoky, the smoked Gouda and the smoky mayo. It just kind of adds a nice little exotic element to it. And then you go left field and you get the peanut butter and jelly one. It's because it's got potato chips on there, and you're like, why? And you're like, well, because it gives a little bit of salty crunch. Like, and then the double proteins with the peanut butter. Like, people don't think about that, and it's like, yeah, it works. It just works. Just try it, and then if you hate it, then don't get it again. But at least you tried it. You know?
You had one here that had, the dragon had sweet and spicy jam on it. Yeah, I think it's one of the cool things. Like each one of your burgers has like a sauce of some sort or something like that. That's your guys' own. That's custom made that you throw on there. So it's like, yeah, we're sourcing everything locally from here, and here's what we got. We got all these sauces that we made that are all customized to each burger. Almost exactly every burger has a different sauce on it. It seems like so.
And I try to keep all my burgers max of like usually 3 ingredients or less. You know, you're not going to see my burgers have like lettuce, onion, tomato, pickled, you know, stuff like that. Like just basically you're stacking up a bunch of vegetables on top of your meat because then it just hides your meat. And I mean, there's people who ask me, hey, do you have, you know, lettuce and tomato or mayo for your sandwiches? And sometimes I have mayo in there from our ingredients and stuff, but I don't have any other vegetables besides pickles, onions, and jalapenos. And then I have like a couple fried things like our onion tanglers, which are like fried onion rings.
Oh, yeah.
And then and then every once in a while I made like this. I have other ones in my head. Like I've tried a cheese curd burger. So it's got like cheese balls and stuff on top of there with like some special like kind of sweet pickles on there and some ranch. And we do homemade ranch too.
Oh, cool.
We love that.
Yep.
And then I have a breakfast type one, which has got like a fried egg. And then we don't do pork products, but we do turkey bacon, which healthier for you. Okay. It's healthy. It's healthy.
The healthier version.
But it still tastes almost like Canadian. I used to eat pork a lot. She doesn't eat pork at all. I don't anymore, but I used to. But it tastes kind of like Canadian bacon, if you would. A little hammy kind of stuff. So I had that with a garlic mayo on there.
Ooh.
And with American cheese and stuff like that. So it's kind of a breakfasty type thing. And then I did one with brisket on there and an onion ring. And so more of like a really southern kind of like barbecue-y type thing. And like I said, like the Apollo and stuff. I mean, there's just I have a bunch of different ones, and I want to eventually get to a new. And I realize I'm going off on a tangent again.
Rotating schedule to like take one thing away and bring in a new thing every quarter or every month is a new special.
I was gonna say, I was like, even
burger.
having just like a special a month or whatever, where you can just have a little bit of fun with it. Why not?
And I was gonna try to do that with my menu right now, but every time I introduce like these burgers, like the Nebula and the Stella Nova, they're like 2 newer ones we did this year. They're all popular enough where it's like I feel like if I take one away, I'm gonna get so much lashback from it.
But
So
the
it's
thing
like,
is like we can't have too many burgers on the menu. We can't have too many options because that's going to take away from the quality, and timing is a huge thing.
And then you know, if you have so many burgers and one of them's not going well because you have so many other ones that then you're losing out money for the ingredients.
Yeah,
exactly.
So, yep.
I feel like taco trucks can get away with it a little bit because a lot of it is, and there's a joke like Jim Gaffigan did that. You know, where you're getting you know, what's a tostada? It's a tortilla with meat, cheese, vegetables. Well, what's a burrito? Tortilla with meat, cheese, vegetables. Like, just say something in Spanish, I'll bring it out to you.
Yeah.
And it's like that's exactly kind of what it is. And I'm not knocking Mexican trailers or Mexican food at all because I think
we love Mexican.
Wonderful.
Oh, there's a few in town here.
But I feel like they can get away with it a little bit more because even with the variety of their meats, they package it up a little bit differently, and it works. But the same chicken or the same pork or the same beef can be used in a combination of different things. So I feel like they can get away with it. And barbecue trucks kind of fit that way too because you can get bulk meats of doing that. But for the most part, like we have some other food trucks who, like I said, try to cook their own stuff, and it's like that's fine. But then like they're doing like, you know, hot dogs, hamburgers, and goulash, and you know, thank you, and
homemade cooking stuff. And it's like,
and you know, fish and chips, and then chicken tenders, and all. And you're like, you're going left and right, and you're like, I thought, what? I mean, what are you good at? You know, and you're not trying to knock them, but it's like everything's mediocre at that point, and you're like, because you're stretching yourself too thin. And you're like, don't mediocre yourself.
I mean, I always think of Chick-fil-A, like when they came out and they were, I mean, just chicken, nothing else.
Yep.
And it's just like,
they do it good.
how well they do with it. Not only like just their food, but man, their drive-thrus are the quickest, the best experiences in the entire world.
Love them or hate them, but yeah, their menu has not changed hardly since. You know, what, 1974 or whenever they started.
Yeah.
I mean, like, yes, you know, whatever, like minor changes, but like I think if you look at everybody else, like their menu is like very little versus like McDonald's or Wendy's or anything like that, who've had vast changes and everything else. I mean, yes, they've had the Big Mac forever, but you know, they introduced the McDouble, they've, you know, whatever.
The McRib or whatever.
Or the McRib. Like, you know, they're just always constantly changing. Whereas like Chick-fil-A is like, no, this is what we got.
Yeah, Raising Cane's was another one that came to mind. It's like we got a 3-piece chicken strip, 4-piece chicken strip, a 5-piece, or the chicken strip sandwich.
I mean, love them or hate them, but yeah, that cane sauce or their finger, just that whatever. You know, it's great.
Yeah, you got a good business model. It works out great. All right, so we're getting down to close to the end of here. It's got
Yeah.
a couple questions left. So, future goals. What kind of future goals do you have for Cosmic Smash Burgers?
I want to do more food trucks, kind of have that. Maybe have just not drop.
Kind of like a franchise, maybe, like in terms of like
A fleet
multiple.
of
Yeah,
is
where they're in
better.
different
Yeah.
locations,
Yeah.
they can cover
Yeah.
more
And
area.
different food.
That would be nice, yeah. But then I want to kind of go into the Cosmic umbrella, not just drop the smash burger, but Cosmic chicken. You can have like Cosmic
Yeah.
stuff, and so the food trucks will kind of stick with there. If I ever did a brick-and-mortar, I kind of felt like I wanted to do like a cafe kind of style, or not cafe, diner style, whatever, where it's still not a vast menu, but I can still kind of cook the stuff I want to and maybe rotate some stuff out.
Yeah, I mean, you're bringing up some good ideas, though. Like, you could take stuff that you've learned here, or even sauces or things from Cosmic Smash Burgers, and then just kind of tweak it a little bit and go, like you said, Cosmic chicken or something.
Right.
You could take it a different avenue and kind of just, it worked here, let's see how it works over here.
But I mean, my slogan might have to change a little bit for the chicken. I can say chicken out of this world, I guess.
Yeah.
But I mean,
A chicken with a rocket ship on its back.
or
I mean, come on.
food out of this world. Yeah, with a little
Chicken
astronaut hat on it.
astronaut.
All right. I want 10% of this.
It's a clucking good time out of this world. Yes.
There we go. All right.
We're building brands here. But that's the only thing too we wanted to do as food truck helpers is kind of help educate and bring more food truck people. I mean, we're completely open to asking us questions and stuff like that to kind of help start. If you ever want to reach out to us, we'd love to help you out. But we also want to try to get people together, especially in Iowa, to help lobby for new laws and stuff, because we get you get a food license for your town, and you should be able to carry that to anywhere without having to pay an extra fee. Like if since I'm from up there or whatever, Mason City doesn't charge one as long as you have a food license. But like, I don't know about Fort Dodge. If I come down to Fort Dodge, do I have to pay a city fee? You know what I mean? Like some city fees are ridiculous, like $200 for a year, which I mean, if you really think about it, you break it down, whatever, it's pennies a day. But
if you're going to someplace once, is
Exactly.
it worth spending $200 to go to Iowa City
or something like that?
Whatever.
Exactly.
Plus your travel time. And
Where if, like, when we're down in Florida, I think Florida just passed that law.
Yeah.
Where you get one, you can go anywhere and it's covered.
That makes perfect
Without
sense.
having to be,
Yeah.
charge.
If you could go back in time, give yourself one piece of advice, knowing what you know now, what would it be?
Plan ahead for it.
business plan.
Yeah. Educate much as possible and really kind of write down your idea and a plan for them. Because I think it would kind of help go over those little speed bumps that you're going to run into. I'm glad my business took off basically right away. I mean, before I even started, I just had my name out there and put it on Facebook, and I had already people reaching out to me and was like, "Hey, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this?" Which was lucky for me. Great, awesome. But if I would have had a plan, kind of exactly how I want to do it, I would have figured out probably a better layout. I probably would have bought a better trailer, or at least one closer to the stuff instead of just hopping into it. I kind of went a little too quick on that one. I mean, we bought a trailer in July, and I didn't even do the food truck until that following May.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So like, I mean, it sat there for a while because I didn't execute it as well enough, because I was, didn't think about all these extra things, like wrapping the food truck and whatnot, or stickering it. So kind of planning and making sure, I mean, budget wise, whatever you can afford, I mean, go for it, but plan it out at least, you know?
I would add to that educational part, or at least break it down to talk to people who have been in the industry for a while. Talk to people, figure out a CPA or someone who knows the ins and outs of what you have to do for taxes and fees and all of that. Like, get your connections. I mean, we're really lucky up in Mason City. We have NIAC, which has a small business little area where they help you for free. Like,
They're the ones that hooked us up with Dawn here.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
so, like, find your resources.
Yep.
Not just Google something and be like, how do I start a food truck, and go through that, but actually talk to people who have done it, lived it, walk in their shoes, figure it out. I mean, we are more than willing and excited to tell other people our story and be like, well, this is what we did and this is what we learned, and, you know, kind of just give that, because it's not like one of those things where we're like, oh, trade secrets, can't tell you, like, we don't want you to be successful. No, like, I think that's the goal of everyone, is to be successful. If you're an entrepreneur, you want to be successful and be able to provide for your family and control your own schedule.
Right.
Can you name a time in your life where marketing impacted you and you possibly didn't know it until afterwards?
Possibly didn't know it until afterwards.
Yeah. I mean, could we talk like maybe business? Is it something in your business that had that where you're like, I didn't realize this would work the way it worked until I started doing it. Now I realized that it had an impact, like maybe making a website or using social media or.
Yes. Yeah, all of that.
Yes.
I mean, well, when I created the website, I wasn't 100% sure what kind of impact that was going to make onto her. And like I said, I didn't know what kind of traffic is going to come through there. I just thought, you know, you make a website just to kind of whatever, just so you kind of put it on there, just look more professional. That's all I thought about was just cosmicsmashburgers.com, just to make it look professional, like just to have it on there on your Facebook.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't thinking people were going to click onto it, but then even after I created the calendar on there and integrate it with my Google Calendar, so whenever I, you know, put in a thing and just automatically put it up on the website, I didn't realize how powerful that was going to be, because that's where everybody went to double check. You know, they would go there and then all of a sudden one would see like, oh, hey, look, there's a calendar. Well, then they would turn around and go, you know, word of mouth to the next person and be like, hey, if you ever try them out, if you ever want to know where they're at, just go to their website. It'll show you all their dates on there. You don't have to worry about Facebook. You don't have to worry about the posts.
Yeah, you don't have to hunt it down on
Right.
Facebook or some social
I
media.
want to do both. Don't get me wrong, but that was one thing that I didn't realize was so powerful. I mean, I wasn't thinking about it.
Yep.
Now you look back on it like, duh, you know. But yeah, just going there and building that website and not realizing. And that's another reason why I wanted to have a better website built, because now I see the power of that. You get all this traffic coming here, and yeah, were they really upset that I had a basic white one? Probably not as much, but now that they see a better one, you know what I mean? Like now they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's visually enticing.
Right, yeah.
It's the website, as Cheryl calls it. That's your digital brick-and-mortar store
Right.
now. I want to tell everyone, you want to check out that website, go to www.cosmicsmashburgers.com. I got the links down below, so check them out. We got to take off, everybody. It's burger time. This podcast is produced by Spin Market and Digital. Located in Fort Dodge, Iowa, Spin Market's highly skilled team can help you increase your market by updating your website, improving SEO, designing advertisements, and producing podcasts that will grab the attention of your market. Contact Spin Market today for all your digital marketing needs at digitalagent@spinmarket.com or call us at 515-302-8026. And to learn more, visit our website at www.spinmarket.com. That's digitalagent@spinmarket.com or 515-302-8026. Or visit our website at www.spinmarket.com.